Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 47 of FTB Interactions, where today I am ramping up on polyethylene. So last episode we made ethanol, and we've got this nicely automated to the point where we've got water and oak saplings being kept in stock in this advanced brewery at all times. And the advanced brewery is slowly but surely making ethanol, or making biomass for us, and then that biomass is slowly but surely being turned into ethanol. And that ethanol is now, as a result of some between episode work, we've got a provider pipe here, and we've got a logistics supplier. I'm keeping 4 buckets of ethanol inside this container at all times. And I also am keeping a stack of plastic enriched eggs in this thing at all times. And you can see he's already started making polyethylene for us, which is also being provider piped. So what I did is just real quick threw together the machine here, the advanced chemical reactor, who's responsible for turning that ethanol and plastic enriched eggs into polyethylene. I also tossed my chicken up here. This might be my chicken area. We'll see how many chickens we wind up needing, and it might wind up growing, but we'll find out. So the plan is we've got this logistics provider pipe providing plastic enriched eggs to the network. So now that it can automatically keep these in stock. So if I were to steal these out of there, what we should see very quickly is the chicken dude will say, hey, you're out of eggs. I'm going to send you some. Whee! Here come the eggs. How cool is that? Pretty spiffy, right? And because we have a stupid amount of unlimited plastic enriched eggs, I can just void the stack that I took out there. I'm not going to worry about it. Because we've already got 16 more plastic enriched eggs since, it very quickly ramps up. So this guy's doing a great job, right? He's keeping his water and oak saplings in stock. This guy's doing his ethanol. This guy's doing his stuff. Once we have enough ethanol backlogged in here, it's going to go ahead and dump it into the advanced chemical reactor, and it'll make a little bit more polyethylene. So in other words, leave that thing alone for a little bit, and we'll have unlimited polyethylene. That's the plan. And then over here, we don't seem to be having too many problems with saplings. We lost about 3.5 stacks, let's say, over the period of time that we've been doing this. But, I mean, number one, we're not using saplings for anything else. And number two, those are going to automatically be replenished over time. So I ain't going to lose sleep over that. We'll be fine. Everything's going to be just fine. We got plenty of saplings. That works. Should I be using the mystical flowers from Britannia? Maybe. I don't know how easy that would be to automate those. What you'd probably want to do, mystical flower-wise, if you wanted to do it that way, would be, let's see, what do we got here? Chemical bath can do that with mana. So a little bit of mana doubles the mystical white petals. So that's kind of cool. So if you wanted to, you could do something with that. That's probably your best bet for automating that. So you'd want a little bit of mana, very, very tiny amount of mana, used to double your mystical white petals. So throw any one petal into the chemical bath and then route it such that it keeps looping the excess that goes in there. And then once you have enough, dump the remaining excess into a barrel. And then the barrel would serve to feed this dude. So if you wanted to automate it with mystical flowers, you could. That would speed this process up. So if we get to a point where we're choking on polyethylene because we're not producing enough, what we might do is change this out to go from saplings to mystical petals, because right now the oak saplings I think make 100 millibuckets. Is that about right? So if we look at this, it's 100. It should go to 200, right? And the deal is that the mystical flowers in there, in that dude, so that doubles it. That brewing machine with water gets me 300 millibuckets as opposed to 100 millibuckets, right? We'd get 500 if we got into honey. Which we could totally probably do. Fluid extractor honey from Pam's Harvest Craft, honeycombs. So if we wanted again, maybe we could do that. Honeycombs come from queen bees. So if we, maybe at some point we'll consider that route. Depends how desperately we need polyethylene, right? But kind of ignoring this for a little bit, we're already at 15 buckets, and it'll just slowly but surely ramp up, right? And as the ethanol increases, it will, make more and more of it. So that's what I worked on between episodes. Today, I'd like to get into crafting with that polyethylene. So we know we're going to need polyethylene sheets for something. I think it was the transistors, is that right? Tin foils and silicon plates and a little bit of polyethylene. So we need that for sure. And we might need capacitors need polyethylene sheets. So there's two things that need polyethylene to craft in our next goal, which is, as a reminder, to make circuits cheaper, right? We want the integrated processors. So making those, this is like a good way to make it, and we can get into that once we get access to polyvinyl chloride, which we will totally be doing soon enough. That said, we will first start off with automating polyethylene, because that's kind of what we need to do that. And we're also going to need to get sulfuric acid cooking a little bit. So we're going to start with the ability to make this version of the circuit, and then we'll quickly bump up to that version, which will be cheaper resource-wise in the long run, right? And that should be cool. That should be cool, right? So let's do that. And then eventually we can get to this one, but that's going to be, once we get system on a chip, that one takes, I think that takes a little bit of effort, right? We're going to need lenses and knock-wood doped wafers and extreme voltage, and that's going to be a bit before we can get access to that. But eventually, we probably will. So let's look at that. So crafting, let's start with the polyethylene sheet, right? So if I want to make this, I need a fluid solidifier with a mold plate in it, right? Now, I think I've got a fluid solidifier around here somewhere. A fluid extractor. Did I put it in the chest? One of these dudes is a fluid solidifier. Centrifuge, cutting machine. Fluid solidifier. Hey, buddy, what's up? And you've got a little bit of rubber. I'm going to leave that guy there. I think what I'm going to do is make another fluid solidifier, right? And actually, wow, look at that. We have one. We have a basic fluid solidifier just chilling in the system somewhere for some reason. I don't even realize why that was there, but we've got it now. And then how are we for blue steel? Let's get 12 of those. That'll get me 3 more of the 4X blue steel. And then we'll be prepared to get this guy added towards the end here, right? So that, and then we're also going to need the plate mold, which I'll steal this one and I'll make another one in the future. That'll be fine, right? So polyethylene sheets, plate mold, polyethylene makes polyethylene sheet. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to set up, hopefully, a crafting upgrade today that will allow that to work in a cool way. What I wouldn't mind is having like another basic chassis pipe. I think I removed basic chassis pipes from the auto crafting list here. Is that an accurate statement? Because I don't see them when I search for them. So let's get them added back, right? So let's get chassis, logistics chassis Mark 1 is needed, right? And we're gonna need another one of these dudes. We'll start with a Mark 1. Get me another one of these, please. And logistics chassis Mark 1, perfect. You're already what I need. Beautiful. Import, remove that. And now I should be able to request the chassis Mark 1, which will be a good enough start for what we're looking to get done. And then we'll add on some other ones in a bit there, right? That should be cool. That should be cool. So he's got a lot of crafting to do, but it shouldn't be bad. Nice. And then you're ready to make another one of these, I think? He's thinking about it. He's got a few more things left to craft. We'll let them do their craftings. Should all kind of work itself out in the end there. Yeah, it's cooking. Coming along quite nicely. All right, so let's give this thing a shot. So what I've got here is a chisel for my item speed upgrade. We're going to get the... There is a fluid crafting upgrade. And I think that means we're going to want the red controller thingy. Right, so we're going to come down here. Oh wait, I forgot my power cables. There they are. All that auto crafting goodness. Okay, basic fluid solidifier, boom, with this dude, and then you're gonna get this guy, and what we're gonna do is install in here the fluid crafting upgrade, which does not seem to want to work. So that can be applied to crafting pipes and crafting modules. Okie dokie, Smokey. How do I apply you to a crafting module? That would be a very good question, wouldn't it? How do I insert you into a crafting module? That I don't know how to do. All right, I think I figured it out. Hold on. So I think there's a module upgrade module. So we're gonna get you. Module upgrade can be applied to chassis pipes. So I think I apply this to the chassis pipe. Right, and then in here, oh, hello. Crafting upgrade module, and then I can put the fluid crafting up. Okay, cool, awesome. And then you, sir, are gonna need polyethylene. Haha, ha ha ha. Select satellite pipe. What no? I think I need to put a satellite pipe on this guy. Hang on. I think we need a fluid satellite pipe. Fluid satellite pipe. Do we not know how to make those? I don't think we do yet, right? I think we need them though. Fluid satellite pipe. Yeah, we didn't make one of them yet. So let's get this guy programmed. Let's request another one of them. Satellite pipe, logistics fluid satellite pipe. That's what we want. Cool. And then we will teach the system how to autocraft them. So you're going to logistics fluid satellite pipe with this, and you're going to import but remove that. Cool. Okay. So that guy is almost ready to craft, and this guy is well on his way. Look at you guys cooking up a storm. I'm proud of y'all. There we go, logistics fluid satellite pipe. So I guess that means we have to insert the fluid somewhere else. So what I'll do is insert it in the back here, and then we can have it unrouted there like this. And then we want that screwdriver that's gonna say, don't we need the screwdriver to say that you can insert in the back? I thought I'll figure it out. All right, so then you here, this, does that look like the right fluid? Yes, select the satellite pipe. All right, we should name it. Basic fluid solidifier, fluid solid 01. Then you select fluid solid 01, beautiful. And as a reminder, to make polyethylene sheets in a fluid solidifier, we need 144 millibuckets. So that's what we're gonna ask for. Oh, hey, get back here. 144 millibuckets will make a polyethylene sheet. Cool. Maybe? Well, we're gonna find out if that works right now, aren't we? We're gonna test it. All right, so polyethylene sheet. Request, successful. And hopefully what we should see is, hey, look at that, a fluid thing coming in. Boom, boom, it worked. Dude, that actually worked. Holy cow, that is awesome. That is awesome. Exact precision with fluid numbers like that is super cool. That is awesome. That is awesome. Sorry, I get excited with automation, but that is cool, right? How great is that? That is super cool. And now if I wanted like 3 of them, it should send the appropriate amount of fluids up because we've got the provider down there on the polyethylene crafter, right? So then boop, 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 and then 1, 2, 3. Perfection. That is actually super cool, right? Like, can we talk about how super cool that is? Exceedingly cool. All right, so that's polyethylene sheet automation. Check. Now we want to look into polyvinyl sheets probably, right? But how do we want to do that? So we totally want you, right? So we know how to make the plastic boards, so that's good. So that'll get us the polyethylene sheets, right? Remaining automations are sulfuric acid and polyvinyl chloride, right? Those are the 2 big ones, right? Because yes, we could use just the polyethylene here to make the capacitors, but I'd like to jump ahead to the point where we can use these. So that's still going to be a central processing unit, which needs a MV cutting saw And a CPU wafer needs MV diamond and wafers, but that's doable, I believe. ULV, MV, not a terrible amount of things. We'll check it all out, right? Having all this automated and prepped will be super useful for us in the future. And check this out, 144 millibuckets of molten tin. We should be able to pull that off. I don't know if we can make a crafting export for fluids where we can say like put iron in, get fluid out, or put tin in, get fluid out. But if we can't, then what we'll do is some kind of like keep tin in stock deal where we'll just, you know, it would be a lot of tin though. It would be a lot of tin. That would be like a huge waste of tin. So we're going to see what we can do to make it so that we can pull that off. Hopefully we can. Hopefully we can. We should be able to figure something out. You know, but either way, all of these things require molten tin. So, or soldering alloy if you want to go that route, right? Soldering alloy is going to be a little bit smaller amount. And soldering alloy ingots, yeah, well, we'll consider it. Maybe, we'll see. That's just antimony and tin. So if we threw antimony in there every now and then, we get a little bit cheaper. So we might want to go the soldering alloy route, just because it uses less of it, right? Instead of, effectively speaking, that's half a bucket of tin, a little technically less, but also needs that antimony dust. But I think we got a lot of antimony, didn't we? I mean, we got a decent amount. And it's been a while since I got it, so I assume it's easier to get now. But that might be a dangerous assumption. We'll see. Anyway, the point is polyvinyl chloride is probably what I should work on next. And to do that, so what kind of fluid options do we have from logistics fluid? So we've got supplier, satellite, extractor, request, provider, insertion, and basic, and then the crafting upgrade. Right. So the crafting upgrade seems like the only thing we can do is say, take a fluid and add it to this pipe, but we can't do it as an output, right? And that's kind of a bummer. It would be cool if we could. Well, let's see. If we wanted to, just for giggles here, I want to test this out, right? What if we got molten tin, right? Can we put that somewhere? It would appear that there's a slot over there that we can put it, right? So yeah, we could say molten tin is what goes in, but it doesn't look like we can put molten tin here. Yeah. We'll have to figure that out. There's got to be a way we can automate it so that we don't have to keep 64 buckets worth of molten tin around. Because that's going to be like 640 tin ingots, literally just sitting in a machine waiting to be pulled out. And the same for polyvinyl chloride, right? Like, I don't want to go too, like, I want to craft this on demand more so than anything. So polyvinyl chloride we can get from, let's see here, where's the stuff? Polyvinyl chloride, right? Because we're going to add a similar recipe here, right? But what we can do is we can craft it with the existing polyethylene that we're making and chlorine, right? And then that'll get us a bucket of polyvinyl chloride. So to do that is going to be a little bit of trickiness, right? How do we combine these two in a way that doesn't mean, you know, keep 128 buckets? Because remember, each one of these buffers is 64 buckets big. So we don't want to have 128 buckets of ethylene sitting there. We want to have like 10 buckets of that, like, sitting there, right? Well, let me look at that and think about how we can pull that off. All right, guys, I kind of have an idea. It's not perfect, but it'll do better than anything else. I think it's kind of your best solution here. So I'm going to do a logistics satellite pipe on the back of this chemical reactor. And we're going to name you Chemical Reactor 01. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and we're going to craft, I forgot a crafting module upgrade. I had to make more modules. You should be done making them by now. Yay, item sync module. You should have made 7 more? Yes. Sweet. And then we can boop these dudes into crafting modules. Cool. Okay. And then you should be ready with an advanced electrolyzer. Hooray! Keep your eye on this. Puns. Love it. We'll look at that quest in a minute. All right. So your job, sir, will be to craft, you ready for this? Polyethylene sheets, polyethyl chloride. polyvinyl chloride sheets times 6. Okay, so the reason for this is the fluid solidifier for 144 millibuckets will make 1 polyvinyl chloride sheet. Times 6 is 864 millibuckets, right? Times 7 is 1008 millibuckets. So close to 1000 millibuckets. So close, but a little bit more than. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem. So what we want to do is have the satellite pipe dump. So the polyvinyl chloride in a chemical reactor is 1 full bucket of chlorine, 1 full bucket of ethylene equals 1 full bucket of polyvinyl chloride. So it's going to dump a bucket in here. And then what it's going to do is craft automatically 6 of these. So watch this. So here's the plan, right? We're going to set that guy's pump to that side, right? And then we're going to tell you, in order to make your 6 polyvinyl chlorides, right, we're going to need, I think we might need 2 of these fluid upgrade dudes. Where are they? Fluid crafting upgrades. Hopefully this works. Does that give me 2 tabs of this? It does. Yay. Yay. All right. So chlorine, right? In the chemical reactor. Sweet. Right? So chlorine in the chemical reactor and polyethylene in the chemical reactor. Right? So we put a bucket of each into the chemical reactor next to this, and we will get 6 polyvinyl chloride sheets out of it. Now, to be clear, we will wind up with a little bit extra polyvinyl in there. And that might be a little bit of a nuisance. We'll see what happens. I think there's a module for that, right? Sneaky, item speed, disconnection, advanced satellite, fluid crafting, crafting byproduct extraction, crafting pipes, and crafting modules. The problem is I would want that to go here, and we've already used both slots of these. We'll have to figure that out. We might need to throw an extraction module on there, which means we'll need a higher tier chassis pipe, which is probably not a bad idea anyway. So I think we probably should teach you how to make chassis pipes. Mic 2, 3, and 4, I think. So make those 3 things, but let's get this started too, right? So down here, what we're gonna have is an advanced electrolyzer on the Manisteel cable line, okay? And we're gonna have a supplier logistics pipe. And what you're gonna do, sir, is keep in stock salt. Boy, I hope that's the salt that we have. And that should request salt. We'll find out. If that's not the right salt, it might be a different salt. Might be mechanism salt. All right, did you? Nope. All right, so it might be mechanism salt. Hang on, let's try that one. Because I know we've got some salt, and that would be cool. Hey, what's up, salt? Thank you, sir. And you're going to do sodium, right? Now, on this, right, we also want to have an extractor module. Actually, yeah, I wanted this to be a chassis pipe. So let's remove that guy. Hang on. This was supposed to be the chassis pipe. Let's get a chassis Mark 1 in here. Missing 1 sand. Killing me, Smalls. And you guys should be ready to do chassis Mark 2 flash. I want to get these Mark 2, 3s, and 4s ready to autocraft again. Remember, we had them for a bit, and then we removed them because we found the other way of doing crafting. But We still want chassis mark 2, 3s, and 4s available to us, so we'll still do the thing. And then 4. Cool. Okay. So user will be a chassis mark 2. Chassis mark 2. Import no. You will be a chassis mark 3. Chassis mark 3. Import but without that. And then you will be a chassis mark 4. Chassis mark 4. Import but without that. So let's also get a chassis mark 4 crafting because we're going to need that for a second here. So request that. Missing 4 paper. Killing me, Smalls. We've got it in places. We've just, you know, don't have it super perfectly automated yet. Chassis mark 4. Good. You're coming with me now. So down here, you're getting this, and you're getting the active supplier module. And that will have the salt from mechanism, which is going to be 64. Beautiful. And then you're also going to have an extractor module. Now he shouldn't extract the salt in theory. How about... Do you need to extract out the back? What direction is that? That is east. I would like to see you extracting the sodium dust. He is! Yay! He's extracting the sodium dust. A little slowly but surely, but we're getting there. Now watch what's going to happen. We're building up chlorine in here, right? And the chlorine, we're going to have the fluid provider on the back so that he can provide chlorine to the network. Okay? And we've also got here our polyvinyl polyethylene, right? So what we now have is you're going to keep salt in the electrolyzer. What's going to eventually happen is our chlorine buffer is going to fill up, right? That's right, you battery and stuff. Let me borrow a battery real quick, just to speed this up, just to show you guys how this is going to work, right? So 64, and it stops, right? And it stops. That's the key. 64, and then it stops. So we will... Number one, we're kind of auto-crafting sodium dust. Number two, we're going to keep dumping salt in here. But as soon as we fill up on chlorine, which happens quickly, we have a stack of chlorine available, right? 64 buckets. And this guy's going to fill up on ethylene, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to pop up here, and we're going to test you, right? But before I test you, I want to break you and start again. So what I'm going to do is remove you and make you a chassis mark 4 so that we can do some other stuffs. It might be a little bit of a hassle, but we'll see what we can pull off. Because my problem is the first time I craft, we're going to have enough polyvinyl chloride to make 6 plates, right? The very next time I craft, because we have a little bit more extra polyvinyl chloride in there, it's going to make 7 plates. It's going to be a hassle. So how do I want to handle this? There's got to be a better way. Let me think this through real quick. There's got to be a better way to handle it. That means we don't have overflow items. Worst case, what'll happen is we'll have an extra thing in here that we're going to have to extract. And we're going to have to figure out how to do that in a smart way. All right, guys. I got it. I got it. Rather than using a pump to automatically pump the adjacent polyvinyl chloride in here, we will use this dude, fluid provider pipe, on this guy. And then we will set this guy to keep in stock 144 buckets. Now, what I should really do is make that 864. And we do partial no and minimum mode none. So what that means is it'll always move exactly 864 millibuckets into this fluid container when it's available in here, right? And that should be groovy. Now, eventually we'll get to the point where we have a little bit too many, but that should be something we can deal with at some point. Yeah, that should be groovy. We'll figure it out. That should work. The other solution, obviously, would just to be have this machine down here in the main area, just keeping 64 buckets in stock at all times. And that might wind up having to be the way I go, right? Because we're making plenty of chlorine. Our polyethylene is getting there. It's getting there, right? We're almost at 64 buckets of that. So given some time, we will get to that point. But for now, if we did, add that to the thing, it would be 64 buckets of polyvinyl chloride that need to build up, and then another 64 buckets in the internal capacitor of the chemical reactor. So it's basically just a lot of stuff, and maybe I should just give up and go for that. But at this point, it's like, well, I'm kind of having fun, right? So you're going to move, let's do this, right? So I'm going to just test this real quick. I'm going to bring this back down to 144, right? Let's do that. 144. Right, and then I'm going to go request the polyvinyl chloride sheets. So requesting 6 at a time, right, which should be fine. It knows that it crafts 6 at a time for this. So it's going to send the 2 fluids into here. They will come together. They will make 1,000 millibuckets of polyvinyl chloride. And, now that I'm thinking about it, we're just offloading the problem a little bit, because we're still going to have that little extra buffer, and that's going to be a little bit of a nuisance. Right, so that's going to then insert it into there and make the sheets, right? So it did one set, and now it's doing the other set, and it's just going to But what we're going to wind up having is still an extra one, so that's kind of a bummer. I didn't think about that. It's a tricky solution to make, because we kind of want the excess to land in here and stay in here, is what I was thinking. But ultimately that doesn't... So what's going to happen is it'll finish the 6, but now because we had excess from the last craft, and this is the problem we were going to run into before, it made a 7th because we had excess, and that's not coming out. So what I should do is... maybe an extractor module there would be the only way to really solve that. I just want to make sure the extractor module doesn't confuse the crafting module component of it. Like, having an extractor module and a crafter would be bad. Ultimately that, or we just throw this guy in the basement and have polyvinyl chloride be fully automated. And then we just craft on demand. And then we're cutting back on the over-engineering that I'm doing. So let's see what happens if I put an extractor module on here. I think that's probably the best one to use. Active supplier or dictionary provider or base terminus. Yeah, I think extractor would be the one to use here, right? So now, if I request... so that should extract that, right? And it did, right? So that clears out the issue. And that solves our problem for the most part. And it also prevents this thing from being clogged with polyvinyl chloride when we don't have enough to make a thing. Which means we can use that machine for multiple sheet crafts, which is good, right? So now if I went over to here, and I wanted 4 of these, let's say, right? Let's see what happens. Hopefully he doesn't get confused by the extractor module existing. I'm hoping the crafting module will pull him out faster than the extracting module does, and if that's the case, what will happen is the crafting module will fulfill its requests, and the extractor will only be used when there's an excess, right? So that should be cool. So let's see what happens there. So he should get his fluid 1, and then boom, it came out right away, right? The extractor took a little bit, right? And if we came over to this, we'll see that there's like, some crafting happening. All I want to see is the purple sparkles go away once we like finish the last craft. So see how the crafting module pulls it out immediately, right? The extractor module is going to wait a moment, right? So you've got a little bit of fluid left, right? He's still crafting at that point. He's still got enough to make a 7th. So at this point, he's done crafting. That's why the purple sparkles are gone. And now the extractor module is going to get around to removing the extra 1. I think that works. Like, I really think that works, and I think that's cool, and I say yes to that. So I'm going to call polyvinyl chloride complete at this point. So now we're going to do sulfuric acid. That's the other fluid we got to handle crafting of. There's a lot of fluids we got to craft, okay? It's just how it is. But we're getting there. And I think that's a valid solution. And I like that solution. Conversation over. All right, so I'm going to either look at doing sulfuric acid between episodes or not. We'll see how complicated it is. So let's come back next episode, and then we can start putting together the better like capacitors and all those things, right? We definitely still have to do this, right? The CPU wafer, because that's going to be used one way or another, right? So that's a thing we're going to need to know about. So he's going to be used one way or another for, you know, your integrated circuits, right? So that's, you know, one way or another that's going to be needed. Like the third version is SOC, but remember that's IV tier, right? So we'll need this CPU bit as well. But we're going to come back next episode. We're going to do more automation and crafting with logistics pipes and other cool stuffs, and then we'll see where things take us. For now, Del20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.